Hi, my name is Amber, and I am a highly sensitive person. I'm also the head of leadership effectiveness and coaching at a global clinical research organization and the founder and CEO of Grace and Grit Coaching, a successful leadership development and coaching business. This is all to say that I am living proof that someone can be both a highly sensitive person and a highly successful leader. They are not mutually exclusive. And as a matter of fact, I believe being a highly sensitive person is a leadership superpower. Here's the thing, there is an empathy deficit in leadership. All the current research points to this. Highly sensitive people, HSPs, need to fill this gap. The world depends on it. I felt a lot of shame about being too emotional or too sensitive for a lot of years. I thought something was wrong with me. I tried desperately to hide this part of myself, especially once I got into leadership, and I thought I had to be strong in even the most challenging situations. Then I discovered the work by Dr. Elaine Aron and what she learned about highly sensitive people, or HSPs. I felt immediate relief to put a name on how I'd been feeling for as long as I could remember. I knew this was me, but I still hid it. I still tried to fight it because I thought it meant that I couldn't possibly be a successful leader, and I was wrong. Once I got honest with myself and I did the work to unshame being a highly sensitive person, I was able to learn how to take care of myself and really own my personal, professional leadership development in a way that turned what I believed to be a deficit into a true strength. I've been doing this work on myself for many, many years, and I've been working with clients this way as a leadership coach for many years also. But it wasn't actually until last week that I realized just how important and impactful this work as training myself and training my nervous system to be a thriving, highly sensitive person really impacted my entire life. This past week, we had a medical emergency with one of our five dogs, Billie Jean, that resulted in her having emergency surgery. She lost one of her eyes. We got home to discover something had happened. So between discovering Billie and finding the nearest emergency veterinary hospital, which we have five dogs, we should have known where this place was to begin with. Don't get me started on the guilt I feel about that. Um, Getting there, calling, getting Billie safe, getting Billie medicated to handle the pain, and then sitting in that waiting room for hours and hours. One, not knowing what was happening with our own dog, but two, seeing the people coming in with their own pets that were in distress. Uh, I leaned heavily into the tools and the practices that I've been using for years to soothe my nervous system to get me through this situation. I did breathing exercises. I meditated right there in the lobby as families were coming in and little kids were holding their pets. I could cry thinking about it right now. With seeing an older gentleman get called in to talk to the vet and leave with just a leash. I know what that means. I've left with just the leash many, many times over the years. We have been adopting and rescuing dogs for 20 years, many of them super seniors. So, some of them we have for 3 or 4 years, some of them we have for 3 or 4 months. I know what that means. So I tapped into, see what happens? I tapped into my practices that I've learned as a highly sensitive person to calm my nervous system, to soothe my nervous system. And it allowed me to get through that 24 hours that was really, really challenging for me and my husband in a way that was productive. And while in the past I would have been extremely overwhelmed and just like a complete mess, this is like the most upset I've gotten about it is talking about it. I was really proud of the way I handled that situation, and it just got me reflecting on how impactful this work is, the work that I do for myself and the work that I do for my clients, especially those of us that are highly sensitive, really impacts every single area of our lives. So if it could get me through this really rough 24 hours with this medical emergency with my lovely little Billie Jean, how do you think this helps me show up in challenging, stressful situations as a leader in corporate. I'm so much more calm. I'm so much more level-headed in these situations, and it's because I embraced being a highly sensitive person, and I did the work necessary to train my nervous system and my mind to really turn what could be seen as a deficit into a true leadership superpower. And another thing that happened just in the past week, one, I recognized like how grateful I was to myself for doing the work to train my nervous system to thrive as a highly sensitive person because of the personal situation we were faced. But then I recognized something really interesting when a friend of mine, an old colleague, asked if I would be a guest on his podcast. He's doing a series about being a fraud, basically asking if you're a fraud when you show up to work. Are you a fraud? And in thinking about, that's a weird question, I don't know how I'm going to answer that question, I realized that yeah, I kind of am a fraud when I go to work because I don't always practice what I preach. I'm a leadership effectiveness expert and coach. I teach lots of things. I coach lots of people. I don't always practice what I preach. And then it hit me that what's even worse is I rarely preach what I practice. What? That combined with recognizing how grateful I am and how important these practices are, this work that I do is both in my personal and professional life, and the fact that when I show up, I don't always share that I'm a highly sensitive person and this is what I do to help myself thrive as a highly sensitive person and a highly sensitive leader. Yep, I'm a fraud. So I decided to put an end to the fraudulent experience, and I'm committed to talking more directly to other highly sensitive people and highly sensitive leaders and giving you the tools and the resources you need to thrive as well. So both the way that I approach my personal and professional development personally and the way I work with clients is from three angles. We work on skill set, mindset, and energetics. Energetics being the energy management tools and practices to soothe our nervous system and widen our window of tolerance to move from resistance to grace and grit. All of this work is really invaluable to any leader anywhere, but it's almost mandatory required if you're a highly sensitive leader. So if you identify as a highly sensitive person and you're a leader, then you're a highly sensitive leader, schedule a discovery call and we'll talk about working together. I do have the tools, processes, practices to help you thrive and really turn your high sensitivities into the leadership superpowers that they actually are. And if you are not sure whether you're a highly sensitive person, head over to hsperson.com/test to take a self-assessment. It's a super simple series of statements. It will take you 30 seconds to complete it. And basically, you'll check a box if you agree that this statement applies to you. If you answer yes to more than 14 of the items on the list, then you're probably a highly sensitive person. To give you some context, I answered yes to 22 of them. So again, whether you're a highly sensitive person or not, the tools, the mindset tools, skill set tools, energetics tools that I have to share with you as my one-on-one coaching client will be invaluable to you in your leadership, but also your personal life. So schedule a discovery call and we'll talk about working together. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.